Okay, so I'm here with Dan, who very kindly supplied his 1986 Ford Capri 1.6 laser for filming back in November over at Capri 2.8. Some of you would have seen that on the channel. Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at quite close detail at this beautiful 1982 Capri 2.8 injection. This is an early car, so it's got a 4-speed gearbox in it. Um, and this has actually appeared on YouTube before, hasn't it, Dan?
Yeah, on Twin Cam's video. Yeah, Mr. Westbury. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was very popular then, and of course Capris on my channels tend to be well, quite well received, and it's not surprising really, is it? So if you
Such a love car.
and how long is it you've had this car?
Just since the end of February this year. Yeah. So not that long. Not as long as my other one, but yeah.
So
Always wanted a V6. So.
you've got two of them then.
Yeah. The other one's currently undergoing a full restoration. And yeah, this one I knew the owner of and the history of it because of several previous owners that have been in our Capri club, and yeah, the price was right, so yeah, just had to have it.
So if you just take a look down the side of it, I mean, this isn't the original colour of the car, is it?
Slightly, no, it's meant to be Caspian originally. It's still got the original colour code sticker on the side of the boot floor. With the sort of that says it's Caspian blue, but it's been resprayed in Titan blue, which is ever so slightly darker than Caspian, but I think it's a bit more of a nicer shade, to be honest.
Yeah, man, I really like it. Would you mind opening up the boot for us? So I've got the rear spoiler on here. It says injection on the back. I'm surprised actually how much you can fit in the back of one of these. When I did the first walk around on the Capri, one thing I noticed was how sort of flat the boot was, but actually you've got quite a lot of stuff in here, haven't you?
Yeah, when I go to the shows, take the chairs to sit on, and yeah, a few cleaning stuff and whatever to polish it up a bit. Yeah.
One of the things immediately you notice a bit about the Mark III is these rear lights are sort of ribbed, sort of Mercedes W123 style, that Ford were very keen on at the time, and they popped up on the facelift Mark II Granadas as well. See this car, I think it's known as Alan, isn't it? This car, it's named in the club circuit.
Yeah, or ALA, or ALN should I say, or Alan. Yeah. Like Capri owner's called Alan. Like the guy who runs our branch of the Capri Club would love to buy that number plate, but I won't sell it because it's the car's identity. So.
Yes, of course. And if we just shut the boot here, you can see on here we've got a sort of replica dealer sticker on here from where the car was originally supplied, which was in Finchley. Although it looks a bit too nice to be an original one.
I believe it's in Aldi now, the site that used to be on.
Yeah, Aldi seem to be everywhere, don't they?
Yeah.
So if you try to open up the door for me, Dan, have a look at this amazing interior, which is in the Carla check. This is the correct interior for an early 4-speed 2.8 injection, and the difference between one of these and 3-litre S. One of them, well, there are a few, but one of them is that there actually are sort of Carla check on the door cards here. The dash is slightly different as well. It's a different colour on the lower half of it. It's quite a different sort of interior from the 280 Brooklands that are filmed back in, I think, September 2019. Ford had this sort of really very kind of strong marketing where they just change little bits and pieces and make it look very different. So what work have you done on the inside of here, Dan?
Put a new interior in it that was sourced from a contact in Germany that all he does is reupholster Capri Recaro seats, Mark III Capri Recaro seats. Yeah, he does all the Carla check interiors, all the different check colours, the half leathers, the sharp grey ones in the 83, 84 sort of model year, the 2.8. Yeah, I saw that set come up, which was the correct ones for the car, which it had in it originally, but the driver's seat bolsters had collapsed. So I thought instead of getting the original retrimmed, I'd buy that set, which was going to cost about the same amount of money to get the originals redone. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is lovely, and of course you've got these pepper pot wheels on there. The injection specials had different wheels, didn't they?
Yeah, they had the RS style and the 7-spoke, yeah, 7-spoke wheels.
Well, they didn't say RS on them, did they? Just a blank
just
bit.
they had the centre caps that said Ford on them, but you can get, I think, like the aftermarket centre caps that say RS on them. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I think what we'll do is just take a pause here, and then we will open up the bonnet and take a look at the engine. So this is the 2.8 litre V6 Cologne engine. In this particular application, the advertised power figure was 158 brake horsepower. Dan's had this tested on a dynamometer, and is it 152 you've had this up to?
Yeah, the last owner, yeah, he had it rolling roaded, and yeah, I've got a printout of just over 152 brake horsepower. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is the same engine that you find in a Mark II Granada. I think that was the only other car sold in this country with one of these. I think then the Sierras were slightly different power outputs by that stage. I mean, of course, the ultimate one was a 2.9 Scorpio Cosworth, wasn't it? But in the 90s. But a fantastic engine. One thing I always say about Capris is when you look at here, you sort of see the radiators not there. It's actually here. So then dropping a 5-litre V8 isn't actually that difficult into one of these, is it?
It's quite popular, especially sort of nowadays. A lot more people, yeah, they do the V8 conversions on them, and then yeah, a lot of people like to keep them standard, like me.
I mean, the sort of contemporary things you might do to one of these is, well, you could do what Tickford did and Turbo Technics did, and you could just put a turbo in, couldn't you?
Yeah, as I was saying to you earlier, Turbo Technics offered the turbo package through the Ford dealers, and you kept your warranty as well if you had that. Yeah, so that was offered through Ford themselves to have the Turbo Technics upgrade. Yeah.
Yeah. But this is just the sort of standard one. It's got very easy access in here. Even I know your 1.6 laser is even easier than this because the engine's smaller,
Yep.
but compared with a modern car, this really isn't too bad, is it?
No, it's just easy to get to everything and just easy to work on. I don't mess around with this one too much like my laser because of the sort of more complicated fuel injection that's on this. But yeah, I do sort of basic maintenance, servicing and what have you. Yeah, keep everything running okay on it. Yeah.
Because you work on modern cars professionally, don't you? Sort of normally.
Well, I sell parts at Hyundai dealer. But yeah, I'm sort of surrounded by cars, and I've trained as a mechanic anyway. For several years at college.
Yeah. So we've got in here a gear-driven engine, no cam belt, no chain, nothing like that.
It's gears. It's timing gears rather than a chain.
Yeah.
Quite unique. Like the Essex V6 was the same, and that sort of line of engines. Yeah.
Because they're pretty strong engines, aren't they? There's not an awful lot in here that actually goes that wrong with them, is there? They're pretty strong.
No, they're okay. Certain aspects of the fuel injection system, certain bits on it play up for now and again, like warm-up regulators and things like that. But generally speaking, they're not that bad really. Just keep them well maintained and yeah, they'll be all right. Yeah.
Right. Well, I think it's time to take another break. I'm just going to position myself around the back of the car, and we'll start her up, and we'll have a listen because I need my 2.8 Cologne fix.
Yeah, with the stainless steel Jan Speed exhaust system that's on it.
Oh yes, please. Got this classic shape here, which in the professional sometimes you sort of see this sort of glass house on the side when they're filming on the interiors of the Mark III Capris, and of course the dash, the The radio is probably early 90s or something, and
Yeah,
it's got a CD player in the boot.
Yeah.
Just very sort of simple controls. So you've got controls for the rear wiper there. Is that the fog light on the left hand side?
Yeah, fog light, rear fog light, rear windscreen washer, rear wiper, and rear demister. Yeah.
And then we've got all the steering wheel, which you've had changed. This is the same one, but again would have been on a 3 litre S.
With the metal spokes, in black.
It looks brilliant. The obviously the gear 3 litres had a very different wheel from this, didn't they?
Yeah, on the earlier Mark III gears, they had a different sort of like one-piece sort of steering wheel in the middle. Yeah.
There's a gold Mark III gear, 3 litre gear automatic that lives quite close to me with Rhino Roof actually, so I've seen that one quite a long time.
I believe the later gears had this sort of steering wheel. I believe. Yeah.
I mean, the gears were more popular than the S's, I think, actually. I mean, the automatics were more popular than the manuals for some bizarre reason. I don't quite know why that would be.
It's hard to find a 3 litre gear manual. I did look at one last year for sale that was a genuine factory manual car, but most of them are the 3-speed automatic,
And one thing we've also got in this car is we've got a factory manual sunroof, which we're using because the light is better if we open it. So this is the interior that Dan was talking about, and it feels lovely, sort of like a velour type upholstery. Manual windows. Only some of the Tickford turbos got electric windows. It was an option even on a Tickford turbo. So all other Capris are all manual windows. Power steering, I think, was an option on these, wasn't it, Dan?
No, power steering is standard on all Mark III V6s. And Mark IIs, but I believe very, very early Mark IIs didn't have power steering on the V6s, I believe. Only on very early Mark IIs, but Mark I V6s definitely didn't have power steering either.
Yeah, so
all Mark IIIs, V6s had power steering.
You've got power steering in this one then?
Yeah, it makes a lot of difference. Yeah, you can sort of turn the wheel with one hand instead of wrestling with it in a 4-cylinder. Yeah.
Gosh, that Maestro I drove without power steering, that was horrendous. That was so heavy.
My lasers, they're not that bad to be honest without power steering, but yeah, it's just nice to have it. It's a bit of a change, yeah.
And then we've got the classic on the left hand side is the horn on there, which we won't do because we've got lots of people in the car park. And we've got the 4-speed gearbox with the reverse down to the left.
Yep.
Handbrake, which is similar to it's not the same handbrake as in the Granada because that's a bit more sophisticated and the same sort of lever, and like it's a one position handbrake. It doesn't click all the way up. It's just a one position, which takes a bit of getting used to if you like me, you drive modern cars. Here we've got the very, very simple heater controls, incredibly simple heater controls.
Slow or fast.
That's all you get. It's 2-speed fan. It's very like actually something like a Mark 1 Golf or a Mark 2 Polo. It's something like that. Very, very simple. Nothing really to it at all. And the door pulls are very simple. The glove box is actually quite large. I remember this when I looked at the Capri 2.8, how it goes a long way back. You can actually fit quite a lot of stuff in there, surprisingly.
A couple of spare relays.
One thing I noticed about the Capri, I've sat in a couple, including Dan's Laser, is actually the driving position of them for a car that was developed in the 1960s is actually very, very good. You sit quite low down, and the wheels are in the same position. A car that was around at the same time, like the Alfa Romeo 105 Series Coupe that I did a walk around on. Gosh, was that August 2019? It feels like such a long time ago. All these things. That was perfect, unless you actually wanted to drive it, in which case you couldn't reach the gear lever if you sat in the right position. But this is actually pretty good. Right, I think we'll just pull this seat forward and look in the back.
It's Matt's original.
Yeah. Down in Stone, the original it says 2.8 injection on the Mazda. The seats actually do split 50-50 and they fold, which is one of the big things about certainly the Mark II Capri when that came out, wasn't it? But there was a hatchback and you could fold the seats forward.
That was sort of a big selling point for them, and what they were sort of trying to push with the sale of the Mark II was the sort of fact of a hatchback with folding rear seats.
But one thing you'll sort of be aware of immediately is where Dan's got his seat. And Dan, how tall are you? 6'2"?
6'3", 6'4".
6'3", 6'4".
Yeah.
Is that
have to have it all the way back and tilted quite far back as well.
Is that there's not an awful lot of room for someone who's really tall in one of these. I mean, the Mark II Escort's even worse.
Yeah, the only grumble I have is your leg gets a bit trapped here between the steering wheel and the armrest, but yeah, you sort of live with it, yeah.
Because they're not the widest cars,
tight, are
they?
Yeah.
They're not particularly wide, are they, or anything?
But yeah, I put up with it to just drive my favourite cars. So.
It's not surprising, is it? I will be going in the back when we go for a drive later on. I'll be going in the back, and we'll be going there. So I'll be doing what actually in the professional episode Blackout. I think that's the one where they use the rear of a Capri the most in Blackout. I have a lady who sits in the back. They've actually got seatbelts in the back, unlike on a Mark III Escort that I filmed the other day. They've actually got seatbelts, so we've actually got some safety, and they are inertial reel seatbelts as well.
And factory fitment on 2.8, so that's standard on 2.8 models, rear seatbelts.
Yeah, just got to be careful when not the camera there. It's like on a Mark II Polo, exactly the same sort of idea. The seatbelt's on this little kind of rail here, and so I better be careful when getting in and out. But yeah, I think we've even got
opening rear quarters on a 2.8 as well. There's an option on an S.
And we've actually got ashtrays. We've got ashtrays here, which is hilarious. That's just wonderful. Right, I'm just going to come round and just have a look at the instrumentation, and then we will go for a drive. So, very, very carefully I'm going to get in, because I always knock my head when getting in a Capri. Oh, we're in. Okay. Oh, now that is really nice. The bolstering of the seat is quite firm, but you do need that in the corners in one of these. They've only got leaf springs with anti-roll bar, I think, in these on the back, and then with first instructor on the front. Being an injection, we've got all the gauges. We've got a voltmeter. Is that all pressure?
Yeah.
Oil pressure.
Yeah, amp meter, voltmeter. Yeah, all pressure gauge.
And then we've got the fuel and water temperature there.
Yeah.
And one thing of my favourite things about Capris is the hazard light switch is right down here, and it sort of goes like that. And this is that like a fader control for the stereo or something?
Yeah,
that thing.
Speaker fader.
Yeah. And we've got the classic sort of 70s, 80s Ford layout here. We've got the lights on the back of here and the wipers on there, which must take some getting used to. And then the clock is right, it's right down there. But I'm a little bit shorter than Dan. I'm probably 4 or 5 inches shorter than Dan, so I'm a little bit too far away from the pedals. But the gear lever, in comparison with the Alfa 105 Series Coupe, which they did sell in parallel for a few years, the gear lever's like here, so you have to sit them a lot closer. This is a lot more comfortable. Yeah, I really like this driving position. It's such a sort of sporty position. I mean, you like an E-Type Jaguar, where you've got this sort of bonnet rising up like that. The only thing I've got to be careful of when I drive one of these next week is that I don't get my nose crashed off a junction. But I'm sure Dad, having had Capris, for how long have you had Capris? About 3-4 years?
Well, my laser I've owned for 8 years now.
Oh, it's a lot longer than that. I'm sure you're used to it.
The Capris, yeah.
Right, well, I think it's time for me to get in the back, and then we will go for a little drive. So here we are. Today we're in Warwickshire, in one of the favourite filming locations I have in this area, which is just near Hartshill House Country Park. Other engines you could get in a Capri were a 1.3. That was I think they're called the Crossflow engine at this time.
Yeah.
Then there was the Pinto engine, 1.6 2-litre. Dan's other Capri is a 1.6 Pinto. You could also get very briefly a 2-litre V6 Cologne right at the beginning of Mark III production. Then there was the 2.3 V6. That wasn't sold in this country. I did see one though. It was a Belgian market one. And that's pretty good. It's a good engine with 2.3. Then obviously then there's the 3 litre S from professionals, famously driven by Birdie and Doyle. Lewis Collins in total had 4 different Mark III Capris, which all kind of looked the same but had marginal differences sometimes. So yeah, we're going to go to the end of this road and then turn right. I feel like a sort of cameraman and professional sitting at the back of here. So we just turn right here. With the early ejections, we have this gearbox on now. Dan and I can't remember if this is called for Type 4 or Type N. There are 2 different 4-speed gearboxes that were available at this time in Ford, and we don't remember that the 5-speed, which was 84 that came in, Dan?
83.
83?
Yeah, Type 9. Yeah.
It was a Type 9, which is the same one as Mr. Coleman's Granada Rubbish Mechanic. You'll see various videos of me trying to drive Mr. Coleman's car smoothly, which I keep on failing to do properly. So one of the reasons I'm not actually driving today is I don't really want to ruin Dan's Capri. So we've got another one that I'm going to be driving it's only a few days now, actually. It's not too long, and that is actually happy for me to drive that, which is, he's a very brave man. He's braver than I feel anyway. So we turn right here. Generally, when you look at the side profile of one of these, you realise that this car isn't really about practicality. It's very much about the style of them, because then you turn left here, Dan. It's not a very space efficient car. You sort of look at the really long bonnet and the windscreen all the way back here, and it's only when you're like me, you're sitting in the back, but you realise that if you wanted a family car, you just went out and bought a Consul or a Granada. You didn't buy one of these. You could buy a Cortina. I think you can fit Cortina wheels on a Capri or the other way around, can't you, Dan? You can switch them round.
It'll be the same same 4-stud pattern. Yeah, so yeah, you can fit them.
Because I have seen a Capri, a Mark III, with Cortina gear wheels on it, which
blue LS, yeah, the Glacier blue LS.
It sort of looks okay. I mean,
Brooklands last year.
That's right. Yeah, it was there in the video. It sort of looks okay. I mean, I don't know if
I've never seen it done before. Yeah.
It looks okay. I didn't realise you could do that until I saw it, but of course you can. I think my favourite sort of wheels are probably the RS wheels, sort of all time. But the pepper pots are Mr. Nice too.
My favourite wheels on the 2.8 are the pepper pots. Yeah, they just the look of them with the pepper pots is just great. Yeah.
Gosh, you get a real sense of speed in the back of here because the windows are so small. Wow. What do you say 0 to 60 in one of these is, Dan?
Ford's figures at the time was 7.8 seconds, 0 to 60. But yeah, it does shift. Yeah.
So under 8 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels.
The official figures. Yeah.
It feels pretty fast to me. It does feel fast.
I mean, you could do about 70, probably more in second gear with this gearbox. Yeah.
One other thing I've just sort of noticed, I always seen about these Mark III's that they have the clock right down there in front of the gear stick, and I think that's a terrible place for it. But when you actually sit in here, and because the car's so low and the dash is so low, it's actually not sort of too far away really. I think we just got caught behind a tractor, so I think we're going to have to pause here for a second, viewers, because the Capri driver does not like to be going slowly. It's not really what these cars are all about. Okay, viewers, the tractor has gone, and we can feel the leaf springs on the back there. It actually handles a lot flatter than I thought it would. I thought it would lean a bit more, but it doesn't. It's probably the anti-roll bars that are on the front and back of this one.
Yeah, it's got a 24mm front anti-roll bar, so thicker than the other models. It's got Bilstein shock absorbers, which only the 2.8s had. They're an inch lower than the other models as well. And the single leaf springs instead of multi-leafs on the back as well.
There we go, we've got some cornering action coming up now. Oh, yes! That's better, that's what we've been waiting for. Okay, right. Well, unfortunately, we've come back into 30 limit now, so we'll end our little drive there, and we'll come back to you in a second for a little conclusion of the fun we've had this afternoon. Well, I think that concludes the second part of the 2,000 subscriber special. If you want more Capri stuff, then, well, more Capri stuff is coming. And if you say, you didn't talk about this, you didn't talk about that, we will be talking about the professionals a lot more in the next part. We will be going over more detail about the engines. We'll be going into a lot more about, the sort of history of the Capri and things. But, I mean, for the sort of £10,000 to £15,000 bracket which one of these cars currently costs, we're not going to disclose how much Dan paid for this car because that would be rude, so we won't do that. I think this is just brilliant. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm now even more excited than I was, if that's possible, when I get to drive the one in Essex on Thursday. That'll be fantastic. But thanks ever so much once again to Dan, who Capri is now becoming even more famous on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to see the third part, and obviously go and watch the walk around I did of Dan's other Capri prior to its restoration, which is currently ongoing. I'll put a link to that in the description below. And thank you ever so much indeed for watching. Obviously I've got Facebook, facebook.com/Lloyd Vehicle Consulting, instagram.com/Lloyd_Vehicle Consulting, and for all you Capri fans out there, thank you for bearing with me. It's been such a long time since we actually went to that show in the Brooklands, and feels like a long time ago as well. I think that's happened in the world, but we got there.